I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. Y'all, it's peach season, and today I'm going to show you how to make a peach cobbler using fresh peaches. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you may have seen me make this recipe before. Main difference is last time I made a really big batch in a 13x9 pan. Today I have a lot fewer peaches, so I'm going to make a much smaller cobbler, most likely in a square baking dish. Depending on your family size, that might just suit your needs even better. I'm going to be using 8 fresh peaches that my daughter gave me. These are relatively small peaches, but they are very, very soft and ripe, and they are going to make an incredible cobbler. The one thing you don't want: underripe peaches or peaches that are just not that good and are hard on the inside. Without question, the most difficult part of this recipe is prepping your peaches. You are gonna be getting your hands in there, so go ahead and get them washed up really well. I've also washed up these peaches, so we're ready to get started. The first thing we want to do is to peel our peaches. You want to be super careful during this step, or you're going to actually use up a lot of your good peach. We just want that very outer skin off of there. These peaches are so soft, it practically falls off. Once you've peeled your peach, we need to get it cut up. Guys, these peaches are so ripe, there's not going to be any cutting to it. We're just going to start applying a little bit of pressure and they fall apart. And be careful when you're handling that pit. Those guys can be very sharp. 8 small peaches is not going to yield a whole lot of fruit. In fact, after I've peeled and cleaned the peaches, I have right at 2 cups of fruit. And since I have such a small amount of peaches, the next step will be done in a large sauce pot. I'll go ahead and place my 2 cups of prepared peaches right in the saucepan. Next, I've measured out 2/3 cup sugar, just under a 1/4 cup all-purpose flour, and about a 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon. If you prefer, you can use nutmeg. Keep in mind, I still haven't turned on any heat. Right now, I'm going to mix all of these ingredients together and let this sit for a while to form a syrup. These peaches were so juicy already, the syrup step only took me about 5 or 10 minutes. Now I'm ready to apply some heat, keep an eye on these, and bring this mixture to a boil. Don't walk away from your peaches during this step. Keep an eye on them. You don't want them to scorch. While you're keeping an eye on this and waiting for it to start to boil, you want to just take your spoon and go in and chop up any pieces of peach that may be a little too large. It's also a great time to keep your eyes open because you might just find a little piece of peach peel or something that you want to go ahead and get out of there. Once you start to see a boil, you're going to want to reduce your heat. I've turned this down to a nice low temperature. Now I'm going to let it sit and bubble until it gets nice and thick. That step is going to vary with each batch. It may take as long as 10 minutes. It might take as little as 4 or 5. It all depends on how long it takes the flour to do its work and thicken. In my case, it didn't take very long. This is the consistency that you're looking for. When you've reached that, we want to remove this from the heat Add a big tablespoon of butter and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You want to stir this until your butter has melted. The consistency should be nice and thick, just like this. Absolutely beautiful. We're going to set this aside and start the next part of our cobbler. We'll preheat our oven to 350 degrees. I've placed half a stick of butter in a square baking dish, and now this is going to go in the oven long enough for the butter to melt. While we're waiting on that, I'll mix 1 cup sugar, 1 cup Bisquick or other boxed baking mix, and 1 cup milk. We're going to whisk those 3 ingredients together until they're smooth. Once your butter's melted, we're going to remove that from the oven. Make sure it's kind of evenly distributed throughout our pan. We're going to whisk it one more time and then pour our dough mixture right in over the top of this butter. You don't want to stir this. You can see that the butter is kind of moved over to the sides. Leave it like that. That's going to make an amazing crispy crust. Now, our gorgeous peaches. We want to take them out and just carefully lay them on top of the dough mixture. Once again, you don't want to stir anything together. You just want to lay the peaches in the pan just like this. Next comes what I consider to be the most important part of a delicious cobbler: some large grain turbinado sugar. I want to sprinkle this evenly all over the entire top of our cobbler. Make sure you get the edges, make sure you get the corners. Don't be stingy with this because it's going to make the most incredible crunch and crack on the top of your cobbler. Now this beauty is ready to go into our preheated 350 degree oven. Now's the perfect time to go tap the like button. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. It seems like every time I make a peach cobbler, the baking time is different. On average, it's going to be about 50 minutes. You want to make sure that the cobbler is set. It's not loose or moving around in the dish. If you're using a glass pan, you want to make sure that the edges are nice and golden brown. As for the top of your cobbler, you're looking for a nice deep golden brown, and your edges should be set and a little bit crusty. The next step is important. Everybody likes warm peach cobbler, but not boiling hot. We're going to want this to sit for at least 15 minutes, cool down a little bit, firm up, and then we're going to be ready to get this into a bowl. Here's how the cobbler turned out. Absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, I didn't have my microphone on when I was filming this particular scene. If I did, you'd hear me telling you how perfect this cobbler came out. Just the right amount of fruit, just the right amount of crust, and that sugar on top gives it the crispy snap that ties everything together. And if you could hear me, now's when I would be telling you that most people serve this with ice cream. My mom always served this dish with cream. Cobbler a la Dolly. If you're a fan of peach cobbler, I am positive you're gonna love this fresh peach recipe. I truly hope you have a fantastic week ahead. I'm gonna be back again with you real soon. In the meantime, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming.